So you want to play Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask Randomizer, but you don't know how to set it up. So you go to your favorite YouTuber and ask him how a million times until he finally does it. Step 1. Download Project 64. It's not the recommended emulator, but it's the easiest to mess with. So Project 64, do a Google search, it's the first result. It's as long as you type in Project 64 correctly. And then it says, download here. You click that, and my gosh, you're cooking with beans. Step 2. Generate the Ocarina of Time seed. To do this, go to your friend Google again and type in Ocarina of Time Randomizer. It's the first result. Currently, it's on version 7.1. You click on it, and it takes you to randomizer.com. And you go to Play Now, and go with the stable build. If you're just a common folk, and you wait for it to load, and your thing pops up and says you should probably be using a VPN, and it loads with a fairy, and it's kind of cool. Some ads pop up because they need to get paid. And then you go to main rules, and you randomize it to your liking. Mess around with the settings, have fun, or if you're crazy, randomize everything automatically and don't even choose anything. Now, it's gonna ask you for a ROM, and for legal reasons, I cannot tell you where to get ROMs. So if that's your question, I'm sorry. But in the other tab, you always want to do the speed up options, because who wants to sit through all that nonsense? Skip all the cutscenes and everything. Randomize your PO targets, and then, yeah, they've got all kinds of settings that they're constantly adding. But when you're all done and you got your cosmetics sorted to the colors that you like or randomized, hit Generate Seed. It'll take a little bit, but not very long at all. Guru is there to keep your visual peepers delighted. And you can see it's already almost done. Just enough time to take a sip of a drink and contemplate how you're doing in life. Then there you go. You've got more ads popping up because they gotta get paid. You could generate and view the spoiler log if you want to cheat that way, but what you need is the ROM, so you go to Browse here and go to the folder where you keep your N64 ROMs. I have one aptly titled N64. And put in the Ocarina of Time ROM appropriately and hit Patch ROM down at the bottom of the page, and you'll see this dialog box where it's like compiling stuff, and it takes a little bit again, but it tells you how many files are remaining, and then there you go, it's in your downloads folder. So then you go to your downloads folder and move that file that says OOT-er, a whole bunch of numbers, and put it with the rest of your N64 ROMs. The ROM folder that Project 64 looks at to load games, which you can set up anytime you want. Step 3, launch Project 64 and edit the ROM settings. This is the trickiest part. Open Project 64 when it's downloaded. It should detect the folder with your N64 games if you've told it to. Now, you're gonna have all your games, and they should work fine, but there's gonna be these ones called bad ROM. Find the one that is Zelda. The best way to do that is to right-click it and go to Edit Game Settings. You're gonna have to do this anyway. When you find it, the bad ROM, right-click it, Edit Game Settings, it'll say The Legend of Zelda on it. Now, the memory size is 4 megabytes to start. You want to change that to 8 megabytes. That's basically the same as putting an expansion pack in the N64. Then go to Plugins, and the graphics plugins, Glide 64 works, but the best is Glide N64, which is an external plugin you have to download. But it's highly recommended to use Glide N64 as opposed to Glide 64. Once you've done those two things, 8 megabytes and Glide N64, you're good to open the bad ROM. You'll see the yellow text of Glide N64 saying that it's loading the textures, and the game will load. And then you type in your name and play Zelda. And that's pretty much it. You will see the seed thing on the top there. It's the same as from the website. Oh, look at this. Jar Sanity's on. And we got the hook shot in Link's house. So there you go. You're in the middle of a randomizer. You're having fun. And that's Project 64. You press pause and it hangs up for a little bit, but then everything's fine because that's Glide N64 plugin doing its thing. So step 4, download Glide N64 plugin. Again, it's optional, but recommended. Type in Glide N64 plugin in your friend Google, and it's the first release on GitHub. Now, when you click on it, you're gonna see these weird things. Stuff that's not gonna make sense to the common eyeballs. Like GitHub Actions, Qt build, what is that? And like none of this stuff makes any sense, but if you scroll a little further, it says Public Release 4.0. That's the latest release as of me recording this video. And what you want to do is download the zip file. It's a 7-zip, so you're going to need a 7-zip extractor to extract it. And you're going to put this plugin in the plugins folder of Project 64. If you need help with that, let me know. But it's kind of self-explanatory if you know anything about computers. Step 5, how to find Majora's Mask randomizer. What you're gonna do is type in Majora's Mask Zoe Zolatova, spelled exactly as you see here. The first result is gonna be a GitHub page. You wanna click on the releases. This is not the only Majora's Mask randomizer, but it's the one that I use. And the very first one in releases will be the latest release. It's version 1.15 right now. And you want to download that. Now, this is a whole separate program. It's not a website like Ocarina of Time Randomizer. They update it all the time. If you need help with this program, I would say just mess with it a little bit. But otherwise, I could try to make a separate video explaining the program a little further. But I'm not going to show it here because it'll take too much time. It's just randomizing the settings in its own little separate program thing. If that makes any sense. Step 6. Mod Loader 64 for online multiplayer of Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask. So, go to your friend Google, type in Mod Loader 64. It'll be the first result. Go to it. The very first page tells you exactly what it is and what it does and what you can use it for. So all you have to do is read that a little bit. Next, you can view the tabs on the top. The most important one is the one Setup. It tells you step-by-step instructions of how to set up Mod Loader 64. Starting with download the latest zip file, extract the file, and then there's this ootonline.pack file. Let's just focus on Ocarina of Time for now, and that's what you want to click on to download that Ocarina of Time online pack file. Then you go to your downloads, and Mod Loader 64 should be in there. You can move it to wherever you see fit, and you want to launch the Mod Loader GUI. It's an application file. It'll have some nice little messages about Zelda and whatnot. It has a room password, and if you go over to your games, you should see that OOTR and string of numbers that you generated. Assuming you put the game in the games folder for Mod Loader. And the mods folder has all of your .pack files, including this ootonline.pack. To show you that real quick, you go to Mod Loader, open the Mod Loader folder, then you open the folder called Mods. And this is where you put all your .pack files. Similarly, the folder that says ROMs is where you put all of your games. So if you need any more clarification on that, let me know, but it should be relatively self-explanatory. The cosmetic mods on the website, all of these are .pack file mods that go in the mods folder. So if you want to play as Chunky Kong or something. And then you just boot up Mod Loader 64. You type in your username and a password for your room. Tell your friends so that you have the same username and password. Load it up. And this one is actually a seed that I just beat it. It's the seed I did with Woody and that we got to Jabu Jabu's belly and realized we couldn't beat the seed. So we're starting here in Jabu Jabu's belly, but if you go to the mods tab on the right, this is where you see OOTO. So that's how you know Ocarina of Time Online.pack is being used. And you can use your costume manager and all kinds of things. You can enable the 3D market if you want to see what they did for the 3D market, but it's best to kind of just leave it alone too, if you're just concerned about getting it to work. But this is where all your costumes will be too. You go to Costume Manager, and I did not activate them in the mods folder, but that's where they would be listed, and you just click on them to activate them, and that's it. That's how you play Ocarina of Time Randomizer, Majora's Mask Randomizer, how you do Mod Loader 64 to play online. If you have any questions, let me know.